we needed to look at, because we are looking for somebody who is judge ready.
Yes, my lady.
To jump in and hit the ground running. Nonetheless, I'll take you maybe to what would be your comfort zone, and that is the matters of arbitration. And I want you to tell us to what extent the High Court can intervene in respect of arbitration proceedings.
Yes, my lady. The High Court can intervene or disturb an award in respect of arbitration where it is found that there is incapacity of a party. The arbitrator has gone out of the scope that they are mandated to do, and the award is therefore beyond the scope that has been indicated there.
What is the emerging jurisprudence on this area regarding the setting aside of an arbitral award?
The emerging jurisprudence, and this matter has been litigated up to the Supreme Court in the matter of case synergy, in which case they actually mentioned that it is actually a narrow, the only way in which you will actually intervene is where there is actually actual, where there is gross and actual harm that is actually coming out of that arbitration award. So there are only very narrow instances. It's not really a situation where it is a wide scope in intervening in that arbitration.
Finally, if you are successful in this bid and you are sent to a station, just tell us briefly how you would organize your station to be efficient.
Presiding judge?
It doesn't matter, even if you are presiding over a court.
All right.
You are a leader of that court.
Yes.
How do you make your court efficient?
Thank you, my lady. In terms, the main challenge, I would say, is mainly on the transcription of proceedings, because the recording of because we usually have mainly the virtual hearings, and there's been some hitch in terms of making sure that I issue out the transcription services. So that has been a challenge in terms of, and that has actually enabled some of us, especially for me who is good in using my computer, to ensure that then I just type my proceedings as they are proceeding, as the matter is going on.
How has your experience at the tribunal made you judge ready? Can you tell us?
You have actually given the decision.
Thank you and wish you well.
Good morning once again, Council.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Okay, I have...
What my take was, because I was applying for a position for judge, and it involved positions that I have actually taken part. And then what I did was looking at the Bangalore principles, also try to look at them from those specific aspects. Like the first decision was...
What is your take on the legal writing one-on-one in terms of clarity and precision?
Yes, yes, Commissioner. I think in terms of clarity and precision, I should just mention that that decision was actually at an arbitration tribunal, what they term as an arbitration tribunal, and there were extensive submissions that had actually been made by the parties, especially because what was actually in question was performance of the coach and sporting merit, things that are actually also under the FIFA Player Status Committee. And so there were things that we needed to appreciate as the committee so that we could actually come up to that decision. But I agree with you that...
all the three decisions.
Yes. So, yes, there should be clarity and precision.
Okay.
And I think in the decisions at the Sports Disputes Tribunal, they actually have they're not as lengthy as the first one.
Okay. Lastly,
Yeah.
you have the record of authorship,
Yes.
email communication to and from your colleagues at the Tax Dispute Tribunal. Are they aware that you are using from here?
Yes, I mentioned to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they gave their consent.
They gave me their
Thank you.
consent.
Thank you, Chair.
Very much. Justice Ibrahim.
Thank you. I have a few questions for you.
Yes, my
I
lord.
had read also your sample writings.
Yes.
I also have read your achievements in your long career. And here we are. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions regarding, as you are aware, after the 2010 Constitution, we have had three Chief Justices from the Honorable Emeritus Justice Willie Mutunga. He finished his tenure, or at least he concluded his tenure. Then we had the Honorable Justice David Maraga, and then we had duly appointed our current Chief Justice. Can you tell me about the blueprint that she launched upon the commencement of her tenure, and the blueprint that she published or launched to show her about her roadmap for and her vision for the judiciary in the next 10 years?
Yes. Thank you, my lord. Yes, I'm aware that there was the previous strategic plan that had been launched by the 13th Chief Justice, the JTF, and then the SJT, SJF by the next Chief Justice. And now
tenets or the main principles set out in the statute.
It is accessibility, which is actually coming through, especially with what has been going on in the judiciary, by having, the certain, the courts are more accessible now. There is virtual conferencing that is actually taking place, and therefore it also then increases the efficiency. There is cooperative dialogue, which is one of the things that has also been brought forth, and that comes through with the court users committees and also the bar bench meetings that are actually also taking place. There is also inclusiveness and shared leadership, which is also part of the things that have actually come across in the stage.
Okay, according to you, the last two, from that time,
yes,
the launch of this, have you seen? Can you give me a few examples of the steps that the judiciary has taken towards achieving those targets, or particularly the one of access to justice, which is really a cornerstone of the blueprint?
Yes, I think there are several initiatives that have been taken. So, for instance, like the small claims courts that is now up and running, and which is actually doing well in terms of the number of cases that are. The sexual and gender-based violence has also been improved, so that the vulnerable are actually also being looked at. The e-filing system, which has also been recently now launched across the country. I think it's something that actually improves the access to justice as required. This week on Tuesday I was appointed as a mediator to hear, to mediate a certain dispute, so that it is not just the, following the normal procedure. So even at the Sports Disputes Tribunal, we have actually also embraced AJS as required by Section 59 of the Sports Act.
Okay. You talked about cooperative dialogue and stakeholder engagement. Yeah. What are the complexities, particularly in the current environment, regarding the, what I would say called power dynamics, about the environment, the perception of the judiciary's role in the eyes of the society, in the eyes of the government, and the challenges that the judiciary is facing currently. What are they?
The complexities, yes, there are. So let me in terms of the stakeholder engagement, one of the things I think that has come through, and the Law Society actually raised some of these issues. For instance, when the Huduma Center was being launched, so that there's actually a feeling that there might be taking away of certain decisions, certain roles that the lawyers are actually taking part. But the others are really about accessing now, in certain remote areas, are there people who will then be able to access the CCs where
some public officers about
that are not.
Well, how should we resolve that problem? That we are just the judiciary is carrying out its duties, and the importance of working together in at least respecting court orders. How do we manage this?
Through that dialogue, I mean, as much as there is independence, I think there is also interdependence, because there's a link between many of these users of the court. So then it's important that there's actually dialogue where people then are sensitized on the need to actually respect court orders, and also to ensure that the esteem of the judiciary is not being lowered.
Yes. Okay. Now, I would like you discuss the issue, the leverage of technology and information in the quest for, in the enhancement of access, in the enhancements of justice, or even access to justice. How has ICT played, technology played, what role has it played so far in terms of achieving or assisting in the access to justice?
Yes, it plays a big role, because
and
it actually...
Give me some examples.
So, for instance, it will bring down the costs, even in terms of travel, so that if you need to actually access court, you can actually access court at your desk, or actually in the palm of your hand. So that actually brings out some certain issues. And then if you look at other even procedures, including previously when we used to have what we would call evidence de benesse, because somebody is leaving the jurisdiction, then you would actually have that person not being called to give evidence, in priority. But right now you can actually have, because they can give evidence elsewhere. I think that then enhances that is a way in which there's been...
do you support that, the online hearings? You as a counsel yourself now.
Yes, I do support that, and I think as long as they're actually following also the specific guidelines that have been issued about virtual hearings, there are certain things that, for instance, if the camera is not working and you need to see, there are certain things that when you are a judicial officer, you are supposed to be looking into.
Yes,
so
that's the part I wanted also to come to. Now,
yes,
as a judicial officer,
yes,
what do you see to be the problems the judges are having in terms of using the online hearing as a tool to administer justice? What challenge have you seen that the courts are having?
Yeah, because like in that, when you are supposed to actually view that person, when that person is within the court, then you will actually be able to see how they are actually even testifying. You don't hunt a situation where somebody is somewhere and probably someone is passing to them notes. I think it's something that can then be looked into. However, one of the things that this is really the new trend. I don't think it is something that you will say the good outweighs the bad. That is what I would say. And I think even if there are problems, then there would actually be solutions that are found towards those problems.
Thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, my lord.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome again, Honorable Murunga. I only have one question for you. From your perspective, you know that judiciary is independent, and the independence of the judiciary is protected in the Constitution. I want you to explain to us what you understand by that, and also how should it relate with other arms of government?
Yes. The judiciary is independent in the sense that it is the one that actually will make decisions without being unfairly influenced by any other considerations. However, there are other arms of government that have an interplay in the way the judiciary acts. So, for instance, if you look at Article 173 of the Constitution, it requires, for instance, a judiciary fund to be set up, but then there are other arms of government that then go through that process of allocation of funds. That is one way in which the independence of the judiciary then comes into question in the interplay with the other government bodies.
That is the executive. What about Parliament? How does judiciary relate with the National Assembly?
Because they also are involved in the budgetary approvals. So
What is the relationship? I want to hear the relationship. So at what stage?
there are committees that would have, for instance, Parliament has a committee on justice, which actually also relates with the judiciary and brings out certain aspects. We appreciate that parliamentarians are actually they are delegates of the people, and therefore it is important that what they are the people are saying then is also transmitted through the judiciary. The judiciary also makes reports to them, so that then it's possible to understand what is actually going on within the judiciary.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Your Honor.
I was looking through your CV, and I noted that in the firm, you said you chair the board of partners.
Yes.
So in your firm, you have a reward system.
Yes.
Could you just tell us, that would then mean you have some way of evaluating performance?
Yes.
Because I imagine the rewards must be for performance. Can you just briefly tell us how that works?
Yes, there is an appraisal system that actually takes place in respect of all the members of staff. And in addition to that, the firm has a way in which it works, systems in place where we have daily reports that are actually filed in by the various members of staff, and then we also have certain supervisors to each of the firms. So we have 3 departments, and each department has a head of a department, and then they make reports to them and on a daily basis in respect of what they do. So what happens is that in the morning you have an entry procedure that should take about 10 minutes, and in the evening you also have an exit procedure that takes 10 minutes, where you report on what you have actually done, and then that is assessed by the key performance indicators that may have been set for that particular member of staff.
I think that's good, that's commendable. I think this is the first I'm hearing of an elaborate system of appraisal, especially being done in a law firm, from the people that we've been interviewing here. I think that's commendable. And do you also get appraised, you as Benard?
Yes,
Murunga?
I do get appraised by
have you ever gotten an award out of that system, out of the appraisal?
Probably, maybe not when I'm currently the chair of the partners board, previously when I was not, because the rewards are usually for non-partners.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, now you said you also serve in the Sports Disputes Tribunal.
Yes, Your Honor.
I know my colleagues have taken you through a lot of what you've been doing there, but is there something remarkable that you have achieved in that tribunal since, I know you, when were you appointed to the tribunal?
In April last year.
So is there something that you can say, this is an achievement you can attribute, or an innovation that you can attribute to Murunga since joining the tribunal? It's been a year.
Yes, one that I can think of was that when I joined the tribunal, because as one of the things that I needed to do was to also catch up with the previous decisions that had actually been given by the tribunal, and I actually suggested that there should actually be a sort of compilation of a compendium of all the cases that have actually been ruled on, and one of the secretariat members actually took it up and came up with a system where you can actually then see all the decisions that have actually been issued by the tribunal. So we actually have that, which was something that I had actually mentioned in one of the meetings that we had actually come up with. And in respect of jurisprudence, I think I've played also a part in the jurisprudence within the tribunal, having a regard to the way I look at certain things. For instance, there were certain decisions, even when I went through them, we had a meeting where we then were able to come to certain discussions just on how the decisions had actually been made, appreciating certain things. I think the jurisdiction, the jurisprudence has actually changed a bit. Even from the sample writings, you will notice in one of the matters where the issue of jurisdiction had come up. I think previously we were just looking at one section of the Act, that's Section 58, but now looking at it a little bit more purposively, looking at the running thread. I think that is something that I can say I've been able to achieve at the tribunal.
Okay, thank you, and I also again commend you for that. Lastly, under Article 159, Sub-Article 2C, we are called upon as a judiciary to promote alternative dispute resolution. Could you tell us the various modes or means of alternative dispute resolution?
Yeah, there is mediation and arbitration, and there is conciliation and reconciliation. Yeah.
And what's
and
the
also
difference?
Yes.
Okay, you still have some more?
But that's, I think that is straying out of 159 to see the traditional one. Yes.
Okay. What is the difference between conciliation and mediation?
In terms of mediation, you are looking at the parties coming, not having a what I'll call, trying to have a decision being made that is actually, they come up with you are trying to bring out the points that they actually have on each part and then bring them together so that then they're able to bring out the end result.
How is that different from conciliation?
Conciliation is more of making it them owning that decision.
They don't own it in mediation? There's a major difference between what goes on in a mediation and in a conciliation. That's what I'm looking out for. Okay, you can look that up. Thank you, and I wish you well. Thank you, my lady.
Thank you very much. Now, outside the legal issues, what do you do with the community? Do you have some things you volunteer to do with the community?
Yes, I do, Honorable Commissioner.
Tell us.
I'm the managing trustee of our Kid Foundation, a youth initiative that has various aspects, including having a football team that was set up way back in 2008, just after the post-election violence, to bring together children from various communities. I'm also a member of PTA Executive Committee and the chair of the academic committee at a school, Nova. I'm also involved in other community ventures, such as just giving my time to public education, for instance, in terms of writing articles to just educate people about their rights. And in addition, also contributing to certain aspects of development, such as buying desks for schools and things like that.
Do you do this?
Yes, I do pro bono services. I have actually done pro bono services for the time that I've been at the farm. And in addition to that, I think something else I could mention is also that in terms of some of the positions that I hold, I'm actually not also remunerated for them.
What outstanding achievements have you made in leadership of the various places you've associated with, other than your farm?
I believe that I've made a change in respect of, let me give an example. For instance, when I was at AFC Leopards, where I was a Deputy Secretary General, before that, I think the elections at the club had actually been very chaotic. People were always having disputes around it, and I came up with election bylaws that then made sure that there was no, it was very clear cut. And I think since then, those bylaws are actually applicable even up to now.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, Honorable CJ. Mr. Murunga,
Yes,
having been in private practice for 23 years, I am sure you have interacted or at least observed judges and how they conduct themselves. What are some of the challenges that you think judges face?
Yes, speaking from the outside now, I think in terms of challenges, one will say there is a perception that sometimes, you know, there is a court of public opinion sometimes that brands judges in a certain way. So that is a challenge, because then it means the judges have to be on the defensive when they're actually making even when people are looking at them, they feel like there is something wrong. You know, you look at allegations such as corruption, it then makes it look like every judge is corrupt, which is not really the case. I think the other challenge I might say is sometimes in terms of communication, because those of us who actually access the courts will also appreciate sometimes timely communication. Sometimes it's not really coming out very clearly, and it could be something that is within the within just the system. You will notice, for instance, communication sometimes comes from even private servers like Gmail, which seems to be then an issue of resources, because again, it's not a it's a government institution, but then it's using a private service. So it might be again an issue of facilities. And when the Chief Justice was actually launching the e-filing countrywide, she actually even mentioned the fact that some of the money that will be saved in things like printing will actually then be used to even buy computers. So that just means that there is actually allocation is probably not optimal.
Any other challenge? You've given me two. On personal levels.
On personal levels, I will say maybe being overworked because of, you know, when people say that there's actually a backlog, then you need to put in a lot more time to ensure that then you clear those backlogs. So then people can then be weighed down because they're actually trying to ensure that they meet the deadlines that they have been set for.
Okay. You are seeking to become a judge. In the event that you're successful, how are you preparing yourself for those challenges? Because they're the same challenges you'll be facing.
Yes, I have, like I said, even right now, I'm actually having two positions, you know, at the farm and also at the tribunal. And I know that you have to have time management. You know, you have to ensure that you actually plan yourself very well in a way that then you are able to take advantage of, for instance, technology to ensure that certain things work for you. I do that because I'm then able to even to tell how many days I have before given. So
That's
that
one.
yeah, so I'm able to actually leverage on technology to ensure that I actually
Of income, assets, and liabilities.